and we are live here every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Talking about all sorts of topics and risk and disaster and anything that can really go wrong. I'm trying to help you to prepare for the worst so that you can be your best. And if you're part of the SERVPRO Mug Club, you can win a prize in the process. We'll have a little bit more on that later. I'm joined today by a very special guest, someone that I've met during my SERVPRO travels here and just absolutely love because he's funny, he's professional, he's charming, he's like a great guy to talk to about just about anything. And you may recognize him actually from the last time we talked to him. Back then, he had his non-profit hat on. We billed him as one of the busiest men alive because of all the work that he does, specifically as the president of the United Way of Northern Chautauqua County. But today, switching over to insurance, Tyler Gotowka here. He is with Lawley Tradition down in Fredonia, and he's here to talk to us a little bit about a topic that is over my head, maybe. We'll see. Cybersecurity, cyber liability, and cyber risk. So thank you for being here, Tyler.
Dan, I'm honored. Thank you so much. That intro was. I hope I'm able to step up and live up to that great intro there. So yeah, talking about cybersecurity, this is something that I feel is in the news headlines every other day. And it's not just one-off, mom and pop company got their computer hacked because they left the sticky note with the password right above their keyboard. So cyber insurance, cyber security is coverage for liability that arises out of unauthorized access to personal and confidential data within your network or business. So basically, hackers use harm to financially hurt and affect companies maliciously. And, just to throw a couple examples that you may have heard recently in the last couple of years on the headlines is Equifax is the most current one. And basically, through somewhat of human error and perhaps oversight, Equifax, the hackers rather, that targeted Equifax, they were able to move information from their web portal directly to their servers simply because Equifax failed to renew an encryption certificate on one of their internal security lines. So this is an issue that affected literally millions of people. And to date, in the last 2 years, this has cost Equifax $1.15 billion in damages. They did carry some liability. I think they had a $100 or $125 million limit. But again, the total loss was nearly $1.5 billion. So, I guess really the unique aspect of cybersecurity from where I sit is it's a brand new coverage that insurance companies are offering to clients to sort of transfer the risk away. And it's unique because, of course, computers didn't really exist in the early 1900s, and they were not utilized broadly in the small, medium-sized business up until the last 20, 25 years, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions?
You've got some fans checking in. I just wanted to say good morning, Maria, Kathy, Jackie, Diane, Kathy, Nancy, Justin, Daryl, Renee, Lisa, Kaylee. Hi, guys. Say hi, Tyler.
Yes.
I'm hoping. So, that's on a broad level. Very, well, it's crazy to think of even the amount of $1.5 billion. But it's also like Equifax. It's this credit reporting company. Like some people, maybe myself, may have a hard time feeling bad for them. But this is something that, to bring it more down to earth, we see in the news quite a bit happening to organizations like schools, like hospitals, where that sounds very scary. Where somebody can take control of a hospital's infrastructure and say, I don't know, pay me $3 million, or I'm going to turn off your ventilators, or something crazy like that. I mean, that's the vibe I get from the news. Is it really that prevalent? Is it really that potentially damaging?
It absolutely is. I'll tell you specifically in the medical industry, this is a discussion that's had at every strategic executive session, because the difference between the other insurances as compared to cyber liability is a cyber claim, a loss or a data breach could actually put your business under, where other losses, if you get in an auto accident, even if the vehicle's totaled, that's not really going to financially hurt anybody. Just using your average medical facility all the way up to your largest hospital systems, they have thousands of private protected health information, which of course is even further protected by HIPAA and the laws and regulations associated with that. So the hospitals are absolutely a target because they are highlighting and taking advantage of the most vulnerable among us. So the urgency associated with solving cyber incidences within medical industry is absolutely far more urgent than that of Equifax or maybe a convenience store where people's lives are not necessarily in jeopardy of being harmed.
Mm-hmm. Uh, just to help me understand kind of the risk factor here. We've been still talking about these big organizations. Say I have a smaller business. Say I have it's me and 9 other people, and we're chugging along and we're doing our thing. I mean, is it possible where we would be? Is it likely we would be targeted as compared to these big organizations? Is that just not? Is that underreported? What's the actual risk there?
I mean, it's interesting you say that. So just to throw out some numbers that I read, 1 in 10 people are going to have their identity stolen in their lifetime. So this is sort of the personal cyber threat as so absolutely every individual should be scared of this. But as far as small companies, actually 60% of businesses, small and medium sized, large businesses, 60% of them will suffer a cybersecurity data breach. And if they do not have the proper risk management and insurances in place, they very well could go out of business within 6 months. Depending on the type of hack or the type of breach, I've seen an average of $225 per record that is breached. So it costs an average of $225 to $250 per record if it is vulnerable or jeopardized within a cyber attack. So just 1,000 records, were hacked. It's fair to think that could cost a company $250,000.
Eesh.
What the rules are, and this is federal guidelines, is even if you think that there's been a breach, you have to alert everybody. So you have to send them a letter, all 1,000 people times 50-cent stamps, and of course the time and materials that takes. And then you have to pay to monitor their credit for a minimum of 2 years. So again, those two costs are about $225 to $250 per record that you have. Pretty
It's crazy to think. I'm thinking about all the stamps. Like, I get a little miffed when I have to put a stamp on an envelope here, and that's like 3 envelopes. So those sort of costs where you might not think of, okay, I'm not just paying like, I'm thinking of these like big ransoms, but it's all these material costs, these labor costs, this overhead, additional overhead just for like wrangling this problem. And I remember seeing on what you sent me over, retaining legal counsel, stuff like that. This thing can really spiral because yes, it's cyber, yes, it's whatever in the cloud, it's not the real world, but it has such real world effects, and it requires so much real world shuffling around to deal with.
So that number of $225 is the cost before there are even damages.
Right.
So like you said earlier, sometimes they'll take a hostage of your entire system, and until you pay XYZ, they're not going to hand you over the encryption key to take back control of that system.
Mm-hmm. I'm really stuck on the hostage thing. I think it's mostly because I saw a meme once, and it was a very blurry picture of a cat sticking his face into the camera, and it just said "PayPal me $500." And I imagine that is what they send. Every time I hear about these ransomware, I'm imagining that popping up on your screen and giving you nightmares. So I'm very stuck in this very scary situation.
There's actually a client of mine within a mile of our office right here in Dunkirk, Fredonia.
Mm-hmm.
And they hired an IT consultant to come and update their system. And this person is the IT consultant wasn't from New York State. They hired him. He came over, worked for 2 days, and then went back. A week later, their system went down. And this IT consultant had said, yes, I took your system hostage, and unless you pay me $5,000, you're not going to get it back. So they paid the $5,000, and then guess what happened a week later?
Same thing?
The same exact thing, and he wanted even more money this time. So it's an ongoing thing, and in my opinion, there's a lot of ways to prevent it, but it's very hard to stop completely because these people are maliciously going after somebody. Mm-hmm. I just want to talk about a few ways that these hackers can get inside.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So it's defined as social engineering, which is influencing, manipulating, or deceiving to take action take action against you that is not in you or your company's best interest. One of those ways are phishing. I'm sure you've heard this, not F-I-S, P-H-I-S-H. So phishing is, somebody sends you an email, it looks legit. So my email is tgotowka@lawleyinsurance.com. Maybe they sent tgotowka@lawleyins.com. And it looks, hey, this is Tyler. Sorry for the late email. I just need you to send the payroll info from last week. So I'm sure people have seen this in their email, maybe even today, if not in the last week. I'm sure you've gotten an email that looks legitimate, but it can trick you into handing over information or taking a potentially dangerous action against you, which then installs malware. So click on this link to update your whatevers. And then by clicking on that link, malware, which is malicious software, is downloaded automatically on that system. Pretexting is another tactic, and basically they use made-up scenarios to gain your trust. This is another one that people have probably gone through in the last days or weeks. You get a random phone call from a number that you don't necessarily know, but it looks local. You answer it. Your vehicle's warranty is up, and click 1 to find out how to renew this. This is an example of a pretexting scheme, which is using disinformation to get you to take some action that isn't in your best interest. Right. Another example of this that people may have seen recently, there were a group of hackers or malicious individuals that sent out fake Starbucks coupons saying that basically there was free coffee available to any undocumented immigrants in the United States or a specific area. And this group of individuals or hackers their goal was, of course, to make Starbucks look bad,
Mm-hmm.
and again, I think that these are examples that people are going to experience in everyday life. Another is tailgating. So, um, pretty much somebody follows close behind you in your office. A lot of larger companies, they'll have the key fob access through the door or some sort of security protocol where somebody will have to check you in by showing a badge or, again, having a key fob. And this person will look exactly like everybody else, and I don't know why my fob's not working, or I can't believe I left it in the car, can you just let me in? And then those individuals have physical access to systems or paper documents. Really quick, I just want to let everybody know that a cyber loss can actually take place uh, by taking pieces of paper. It's not just through accessing computer systems and servers. So a lot of doctors' offices, when you come in for your checkup, that doctor is going to write down some information on a piece of paper, and if that piece of paper is taken by someone who shouldn't read that, which is pretty much the medical staff and the individual, that could be another version of a cyber loss.
Don't you miss when it was just random emails from like overseas princes trying to get $1 million out of you? I read one this morning that was a, like a space agency claiming that the Russians had stranded one of their astronauts in space for 10 years, and he was in good humor, but they did need $3 million to get him back. I missed that. That was almost charming compared to some of the stuff you were describing. Um, this is a crazy topic. We are running a little bit low on time. I did want to ask you, Tyler. We have a lot of insurance professionals on here who maybe they've not dipped their toe into the cybersecurity world. How do you approach somebody who maybe isn't that savvy with this stuff and explain the need to them? Say they're a business owner.
I always like to bring some examples along and let them understand how risky it could be not having procedures in place or insurance in the event of something really nasty happening. So, I mean, you just have these scenarios. Do you think it's possible or reasonable to believe that somebody could gain access to your systems? Is there any way that you think that X, Y, and Z could happen? Cyber liability is actually being endorsed automatically. They're given sublimits on a lot of business owner and commercial liability packages. Um, so this is something that the insurance companies, they see the need. They of course don't want their clients to go out of business. So they're just providing tools like cyber liability and training, trainings on how to recognize the red flags. So, I would just say that it's important to maybe talk to your insurance agent, or if you are an agent, talk to the carriers that specialize in it, and brush up on it, because it's certainly something that's growing more and more.
Awesome. Well, this has been very informative and very terrifying. I appreciate you coming. Hang out. We're going to do the prize drawing, but if you're joining us a little bit late, this is Tyler Gotowka with Lawley down in the Dunkirk, Fredonia area. He has been giving us a clinic on cybersecurity, cyber liability, all the threats that are out there. I think the sum total of that is that it's sort of the classic, I guess, risk adage. It's the sort of thing you think is going to happen to somebody else, and it could very well happen to you, especially as you know we become more interconnected. I mean, that story with the IT consultant is especially, I think, chilling because that's just someone. Most people don't have that much acumen with this stuff, so they do hire somebody to deal with it. And do you really know that they won't do that? It can be tough to know, and if you're not protected, then you're going to be not only out $5,000 potentially, but targeted again and again and again as somebody who will pay. So, if it's something you're not familiar with, I'd imagine, Tyler, it's okay if they reach out to you with questions.
Absolutely. Lawley Insurance, T. Gotowka at lawleyinsurance.com. You can search us online and find our Dunkirk, Fredonia location and pop in. I'd love to chat.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you, Tyler. And anybody who's watching, if you guys ever want a guest star, hang out. I know, Maria, you had mentioned that you do some information security training, identity theft training, stuff like that. Shoot me an email. It's always nice to have somebody to talk to. Otherwise, I'm just standing here looking into this camera, and eventually you guys are going to get sick of seeing my face. So, anyway, for the part everybody I'm sure is waiting for, it's time to draw some prizes. We're going to actually be drawing 2 prizes today. And I think everybody can see that. I was at the Building Owners and Managers Association's golf tournament on Friday, and I had some people enter to win $50 and some SERVPRO product. So I'm going to draw this because if I draw this in private, everybody thinks I cheated. All right, here we go. All right, Dave Gordon from Green Building Solutions. You are a winner. I'm going to write that down. I will shoot you an email. But now, the big thing, the SERVPRO Mug Club. And if you guys do not know what the SERVPRO Mug Club is, I don't have one of the mugs in front of me. I'm not doing good. I have a full mug of coffee, so I can't show you the bottom. But if you join the SERVPRO Mug Club, every single week we do one of these drawings. You will get a SERVPRO mug with a number on the bottom. That is your number. It gets registered to this here wheel. I draw once a week for all sorts of prizes. If you're watching the show and I draw your name, you get a double prize. So if you're watching now and you have not said anything, I do not know you're here, and your name is on this wheel, your number's on this wheel, let me know. Otherwise, I'm not going to get you your double prize. You're going to be very sad. So without further ado, and we've got a lot of names on here, a ton of names. I just want to make sure, I just had to go through my list. Those are all real names. We are really growing here, guys. I really appreciate it. Let's do a drawing. 151. Let me just consult my list here. That's Jackie Hirsch. Jackie, are you on today? I thought I saw you. Yes, you are, Jackie Hirsch. You get a double prize. I see you on there. So I will email you. Let me just write that down. That is our second double prize of this whole show. Congratulations, guys. So that's our show for today. Thank you, Tyler, for being here. What is there to say except for, let's bring my face back up. There I am. Here's what I've got to say today is I'm going to be going on my honeymoon pretty soon. So we've got one more show. Next week is going to be my send-off show. Next week I will be a married man. Congratulations, please. So that'll be our last show for basically all of September. We will be back in October, so do not miss next week. I will think of something fun to do and say and give away. I haven't come up with it yet. Maybe a piece of wedding cake. Maybe you get to come on our honeymoon with us. If you want to go to Paris, you better tune in next week. All right, this has been Breakfast with a Disaster. We're at 23 minutes, so I'm going to sign off. Thank you, Tyler, for being here with us. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Have a wonderful day, and stay safe out there. Do not get hacked.